One day after a swim meet, an outdoor swim meet or something, I developed a rash. And I thought it was poison oak because I'm outside all the time, and it turned out to be shingles, which is the adult form of chickenpox. And I went to the doctor to have it treated, and he said, well, he goes, because you're a single male and live in San Francisco, he goes, I'm not making any judgment calls here, but you probably should be HIV tested. And I said, no way. I said, I can count on my two hands the number of people I've ever had sex with, including high school. I said, I've never been to a club. I've never been to any of that kind of stuff. I've never taken drugs. And I went and got the test and waited a horrific 2 weeks worrying about it. They came back and the nurse said, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're positive. And at the time, 10, 12 years ago, that was a death sentence. You weren't going to live to see your 40th birthday. There was no way. And they tried to placate it with, well, now you have an opportunity to do whatever you want, which some people never realize in their life. And I said, stick it in your butt, nursey. I don't want to hear that crap. But, I remember I was with my best friend, who's still my best friend, Janice, and I remember looking at her, and I remember my very first words as my knees buckled underneath me. I just looked at her, and I just said, all I want is my life back. I just want my life back. Fully well knowing that everything I knew, everything I dreamed of, everything that I thought I'd be doing was no longer going to be possible. I swam in a competition, and I got hypothermic because I was taking a drug, AZT, which everybody knows about. And it was killing my bone marrow, and they didn't know that it did that then, which made me go hypothermic out in a big lake, and I became really cold. And when I got out of the lake, I was all blue, and I was in front of my whole team, and they all saw for the first time because I hadn't told anybody about my situation. And that was the end of my swimming competition, and I disappeared for the next 3 years until just this past summer, after using mega amounts of drugs and being on the cutting edge and taking every protease inhibitor as it comes off the assembly line and every imaginable combination that you can do, because I'm what they call a last resort. They don't want people to be taking these drugs anymore now because of the horrible side effects, some of which I am suffering from: kidney problems, liver problems, heart difficulties, all these kind of things that aren't even related to HIV. They're just completely related to taking the drugs.
Things have definitely changed. I mean, some of my goals, some of the things that I wanted to achieve, for me were basically motorcycle road racing. That was the most important thing in my life, and I really was looking to be, at some point, the #1 plate holder, the top dog in Northern California. And I was getting there, I paid my dues for many years learning the ropes and learning how to race. And when I was finally getting sick and having to do so many drugs, I was up to 4th overall and, scratching my way very slowly to the top. By now, I'm sure I probably would have been on the national circuit, but, all that's gone. There's no way I can do that. It was too hard for me to look at the race bike sitting out there in the garage all the time because, it's like right now, I generally don't go even as a spectator to the races because it's too hard to watch and see what I really love to be doing and not be out there participating. And the same thing with my race bikes. They actually sat in the garage for probably a couple of years after I had stopped racing and stuff, and it was just hard to walk out there every time and see them sitting there because it just brought back memories and thoughts of what I really, want to do and what I had to give up. Frank and I met out talking in high schools to students about the risks of HIV, and we seemed to hit it off quite well, and both of us were having similar experiences and both had lost most of the people that we knew, and most of our friends had died. And we sort of took comfort in each other's misery, you might say. We actually have enjoyed getting out, and it's sort of a way to sometimes feel alive again, because we have purpose and, we're doing something important, and at the same time doing something that's very therapeutic for us, anything that forces you to wake up in the morning, and not just to wake up to take a bunch of drugs, but, to get up and make you go out the door and participate in life, is important. For a long time, I never knew season to season if I was still going to be alive, and you basically live your life for that particular season then. I can remember in 95 when I first got sick and I had a good 2 years of really bad health and a lot of bad things were happening to me. And each time I would make it to another summer, I can remember thinking, oh God, just let me have one more summer, and then you'd get through the summer and it would be like just one more holiday season. Each time you'd make it to another one, but, you never knew you were going to, as a matter of fact, you didn't expect that you would.
So now it's just a matter of, doing what you can do and hope that something better comes along. And the irony is that for the first time in 10 years, the HIV is totally under control. T cells are good, viral load is down, everything's great, except the drugs are destroying my systems.